Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And then you say, Jai Shri Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Jai Shri Radhe Govinda, Jai Shri Gauranitai, 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 Jai Shri Gauranitai, Jai Shri La Prabhupada, 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 Jai Shri La Prabhupada. Since we are already here, let's go ahead and start. One thing. Okay. Let's start with your prayers. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Gnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Katamayam Dadati Swapadantikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Sapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanasute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So the most confidential knowledge, chapter 9. It's a very important chapter. Chapter 7 was about knowledge of the absolute. So this is about secret, the most confidential. Guhya means secret, Raja Guhya Yoga. And then it has many important verses. So it just shows that, in this chapter, we will understand the more our heart is pure, the more we can understand the glories of Krishna. Okay, let's pay our obeisances to Sri Radha Govinda and Srila Prabhupada. So this is a summary of chapter 8. Krishna's answers to Arjuna's questions. Remembering Krishna at the time of death, remembering Krishna, practice remembrance through meditation, pure devotional service, remembrance of Krishna through bhakti, comparing the material and spiritual worlds, glories of the supreme abode, the supremacy of devotion in attaining the supreme. Do you remember what questions Arjuna asked? Kim Brahma, Kim Adhyatmam, Kim Karma, Purushottama. That first verse, if you memorize, it becomes easier. Can someone unmute and tell the 6 questions that he asked? Adibhutam, Kim Bhuktam, Adi Devam, Kimuchyate. Okay, so what is Brahman?
The effulgence of the Lord.
Brahman is, yes, that is correct, Mataji. Brahman, here in this, in this context, Brahman means material nature. Brahman means the effulgence of the Lord. Here, Brahman means Jiva, spirit, soul, indestructible living entity, Brahman. Adhyatma is the controller of the body, the nature of the Jiva, nature of the soul, self. Karma, what is karma?
The fruitive activities of the Jiva.
Thank you, Mataji. Actions leading to another material body, fruitive activities. Then Adibhuta. Material nature, material manifestation. Adibhuta. Material manifestation, material nature. Adi Deva.
The demigods.
Yes, universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods and everything. Adi Yajna.
Adi Paramatma.
Yes, Paramatma, correct, Mataji. Yagna means sacrifice. So Adi Yagna is the one who, the enjoyer of the sacrifice, who is none other than Paramatma himself. So where does this Adi Yagna, Paramatma reside? Where is Paramatma? Where does it reside? Adi Yagna?
In the heart.
Yes, Mataji. So Adi Yagna is in the heart of all living entities, and he is actually in every atom also. He pervades, right? So the Adi Yagna is in the heart of all. How to remember Krishna at the time of death? You have to practice remembrance throughout life. So let's go on. Okay. Chapter 8, Ananya Bhakti. In chapter 8, Krishna has explained that an Ananya, unalloyed devotee, surpasses the path of light and darkness. Now, Krishna will explain how to become such a devotee. Supremacy of Bhakti. Chapter 8 concludes that Bhakti is the best form of yoga. Chapter 9 supplies the specific knowledge required for performing that most confidential yoga. So 7 and 9 are identical. Chapter 7 and 9 are virtually identical. Chapter 8 can be seen as a tangent in the conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, clearing up some important points before continuing on in the same line. Chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge. Hearing about Krishna, his qualifications and disqualifications explained. Aishwarya Jnana, Krishna's Achintya Bheda, Abheda, relationship with the material world. Non-worshippers and worshippers, we'll discuss that. Krishna is the supreme object of worship. Our goal is Krishna, is the supreme object of worship. The glories of directly worshipping Krishna. Actually, all the gopis in Vrindavan knew that he is the only object of worship. So their attention 24 hours was on Krishna only. They were not mental speculators. They were they didn't have any material desires. All they wanted to do was to please Krishna. They're very, very elevated devotees. So this is the summary of chapter 9. Hearing about Krishna's qualifications and disqualifications. Aishwarya Jnana, Krishna's Achintya Bheda, Abheda relationship with the material world. Non-worshippers and worshippers. Krishna is the supreme object of worship. The glories of directly worshipping Krishna. It is called the most confidential knowledge, most celebrated knowledge, knowledge of pure bhakti. See, once a person understands this knowledge, he will understand how to conduct himself, what are his activities, what is his achar, so and how to approach Krishna. Krishna himself says there are many ways to approach him. Fools and gnanis approach him in different ways, but direct bhakti to Krishna is the best path to approach Krishna. But Krishna is inclined to his devotees and he forgives any accidental mistakes committed by the devotees. He actually forgives. He's very merciful. And then hearing about Krishna qualifications and disqualifications, non-enviousness allows one to hear confidential knowledge about Krishna, and faithlessness forces one to birth and death. See, non-enviousness, it's very natural for us also. So there is something that you want to share, something very special, some special news, great news, something you have achieved something or something really good happened to you. At that time, if you have some envious people around you and you have some friends, you will actually think, can I share this news with this person? How much can I share? Can I just open my heart and give out all the information and everything? Because a non-envious person, may not take it in a right way. And we also filter sometimes. We don't want to reveal ourselves too much to people who are not really interested in our progress. So same way here, like there are people, different kinds of people. Somebody who is really, very, very, what do you say, dear to us, who really wants us to flourish, be, progress and being happy and everything. So a very close friend like that, then we may actually share. No, I have a great news, and this is what happened. Something great happened, and whatever it is on a material platform, also I'm telling that's what happens. I got this great job or whatever. You will reveal to people who really will feel happy for you and who are actually close to you. Same way here, Krishna is revealing this to Arjuna. Why we'll understand in this verse. So, who would like to recite this verse?
I'll
Shall
try.
I?
Mataji.
Okay.
Okay. Hare
Um,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, go ahead, please.
Sri Bhagavan Vacha Idam tu te guyatamam pravakshyami anasuyave jnanam vijnana sahitam yajnatva mokshase shubhat. The Supreme Lord said, my dear Arjuna,
It's Ashubhat, Mataji. Moksha se
Ashubhat.
Ashubhat. Yes.
The Supreme Lord said, my dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most secret wisdom, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. So why Arjuna? People say, why Krishna chose Arjuna? Why not Bhima? Why not this person? Why not that person? So here Krishna himself is saying. So, idam jnanam, this knowledge of pure devotional service, I can reveal this to you as you're not envious of me. He's not envious. So, as we become free of envy with good association with other devotees, we can actually understand Krishna. They absorb this knowledge more and more. And Krishna is full in all these, six opulences. And imagine this happened so many years ago, and we are still thinking about Krishna, talking about him, talking about his unlimited qualities. That's the greatness of the Lord and all his pastimes. So all the Bhagavad Gita commentators who actually they may consider themselves scholars, highly, they think, oh, we are such great scholars. But if they are envious of Krishna, their commentaries are useless. You know. So if someone criticizes the character of Krishna without knowing him, he's actually a fool. He's actually considered a fool. So we have to hear about Krishna from a proper source, like acharyas coming from in a disciplic succession, and then we become advanced. Otherwise, it's like Shamshan Vairagya. We hear from somebody, what will happen? Somebody is talking about Krishna. That person may not be purified at all. He may just be giving some information. We are learning everything from Acharya Prabhupada. So actually, this knowledge is just like how he is written in the puppet. We are studying like that as it is. That's why it's called as it is. There is no nothing coming out from our own opinion. Nothing like that. So Samshan Vairagya is something like this. You see, when a person passes away, people assemble there. They look at his body, and then for that moment, at that moment, they may think, oh, this is life, life is so short. For such a short life, people are going through so many problems, so much politics, all this. They feel like, oh, they are all becoming self-realized. At that moment, it feels like that. But as soon as the funeral is over, they get back to their job and work, and they're out of that place. What happens? They're back to the same politics. They are into the same rubbish, right? This is what is Samshan Vairagya. For that moment, they feel like, oh, yeah, something great has happened. But then again, back to square one. But that is not how it should be, right? So this, what we understand in this chapter, this chapter deals with unalloyed, pure devotional service, which is very, very confidential, because a person who is situated in this most confidential knowledge, actually, the confidential knowledge of Krishna, he becomes naturally transcendental. He will not have any material pangs. He will not have material miseries. He will be liberated, he'll happy, joy. He says actually, Krishna himself says, your service is performed joyfully. So he's always happy. He's not even under this material, miseries and all that. He's not going through all that. So he's already on a liberated platform. So this knowledge is secret, but it's very, very special. Okay. Okay. Lord Krishna imparts most confidential knowledge and realization to Krishna, to Arjuna. Okay. Now let's see. We go through this quickly. Why? Because knowledge of spirit, soul, and body useful for liberation. More confidential. Okay, we'll understand what is Guhya, Guhyataram, and Guhyatamam. Chapter 7 and 8, knowledge which brings about enlightenment about Krishna consciousness, Supreme Lord and his energies, which is most confidential. Chapter 9, because it deals with pure unalloyed devotion and delineates means explains the glories of the Lord. So, useless commentary of high academic scholars gives inaccurate commentaries because they are envious. There are many people like that. You can find them. If you go to the library also, you can find so many translations and all that, but it will be very confusing. You won't understand anything. Okay. Lord Krishna imparts most confidential knowledge and realization to Arjuna. Raja Vidya. What is the qualification to receive? Anusuyave, free from envy. What is the means to receive? Proper hearing. What are the benefits? Relief from miseries of material existence. You can just look at all the great acharyas like Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, or Acharya Prabhupada, and all these associates of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. You see them, you just look at them and you know they are happy. It is there, you know, that when they are speaking, it's not just words. Their consciousness gets to us, right? When we hear them every day, we know they're not just words. You know, the Prabhupada's consciousness, that's what could convert so many people into Vaishnavas. So, and where is material misery there? They were all happily performing the devotional service. So here, 9 processes of devotional service. So idam gnanam, this knowledge, which is nothing but pure devotional service, consists of 9 different activities. Hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, worshipping, praying, and obeying. And then there's friendship, maintaining friendship, and surrendering everything. Atma Nivedanam. But what will happen if you practice these 9 elements of devotional service? We will be elevated to a spiritual consciousness. It is nothing but Krishna consciousness. So when our heart is very clear, it's cleared of all this material contamination, we will be able to understand the science of Krishna in the right way, properly. So let's go over this. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Padasevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam, Sakhyam Atmanivedanam, and there are examples also. Atmanivedanam is Bali. Shravanam is just hearing. And then Kirtanam, then remembering about Krishna, Padasevanam, Lakshmi, Mother Lakshmi, Maharaj Prutu for Archanam, Vandanam, you see here, Akrura, and then Dasyam, and then Sakhyam. Dasyam is Hanuman, examples. And the Sakhyam, Arjuna, Maharaj Bali, Atmanivedanam. So let's go ahead. So by the practice of all this, actually, we are elevating ourselves to a higher platform. Okay, chanting or glorifying. Okay, let's just 1 second. Prahlad Maharaj examples, it's coming. Deity worship, praying, becoming servant, friendship, complete surrender. Please recite this verse. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Raja Vidya Raja Gamyam. Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam. Pavitra Midamuttamam. Pratyakshavagamam. Dharmyam. Susukham Kartumavyayam. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is the everlasting, and it is joyfully performed. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So we get to know the secret of the secrets. It is king of all the knowledge because it is the essence of all the philosophies explained before. So it is like perfection. Krishna is not saying, you become perfect. What is perfection of life? Not He's not saying become a philosopher, become a doctor, become this, become politician. No, he's telling actually perfection of life is this. One who knows this knowledge, he's actually become perfect. So there are three levels of secret. Guhyam. Guhyam means I'm not the body, I'm the soul. Who am I? I'm not the body, I'm the soul. And once we know we are the spirit souls, we know that we are different from the body, and the nature of the soul is it is immutable, indestructible. The soul is eternal. All this, that's the first level of secret. Second is guhyataram, soul. Now I'm not the body, I'm the soul, but the soul is part and parcel of Krishna. Where do I come from? I'm coming from Krishna, part and parcel of Krishna. Now what next? Guhyatamam, how do I go back to Krishna? What am I supposed to do? Then what are we supposed to do? Develop deep, loving, devotional service. Develop this relation and loving devotional service. Develop this relationship. It's already there. Love for Krishna is already there in our heart. We just have to rekindle it. That's what an acharya will do. Spiritual master will help us with that. So develop loving devotional service to Krishna. That's what we are supposed to do. And by hearing about Krishna, reading Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam and all this, what is happening is our faith will become very firm. Our faith will increase, and then our hearts get purified. And all this, these impurities are because of the three modes of material nature. Why do we become impure actually? Because of our desire to enjoy without Krishna. We have some ulterior motive behind everything that we do. That is impurity. And by this process of chanting, dancing, prasadam, he's saying Susukam Kartum Avyayam. It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed. So actually devotional service can be performed by anyone in any condition. Even if somebody is very, very poor, Krishna is saying all you need to offer me is Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toyam. Any one of these you can offer me and I'll accept it. I'll accept it. So he himself is saying we don't have to do too much. He's very happy. Krishna doesn't need anything actually. It is for us to make an effort to uh, contact him, get in touch with him, so that our love for him increases, and we actually reach a stage where we are in completely love with Krishna, and with all we want is Krishna and nothing else. So when that stage comes, Krishna will take us back to the spiritual world. We'll actually go back to Godhead. And a pure devotee doesn't even worry about that. He says, wherever I am, the Lord is there. I don't have to worry about anything. He's in complete control of me. So it doesn't matter. As long as I'm serving the Lord, wherever I am, any planet, any place, I am happy because Krishna is there very much. And I'm just his servant. Just like a baby is very, very comfortable with the mother. Maybe child knows parents are there. I don't have to worry. So it feels so secure. Like that the devotee will feel so secure. Just, because he's reached that stage where he understands the Lord is in control. And it is joyfully performed, the devotional service. Okay. Further glorification of the most confidential knowledge. Raja Vidya, king of all knowledge, because it is the essence of all doctrines and philosophies explained before. Raja Guhyam, most confidential knowledge. This talk about the eternal activities of the soul and thus use positive information. Okay. Further glorification. Purifying potency of devotional service is very strong because all our senses, our mind, because our mind is very, very, Krishna, even Arjuna says he cannot control his mind. He says Ashtanga Yoga and all that. We saw in those chapters, he says it's not easy to control the mind. Very difficult. How do we control our senses and mind? By engaging them in the service of the Lord. Then the mind gets automatically controlled. So, Pavitram idam uttamam, purest form of all activities. And here we're discussing about stages of reaction, sinful reactions. Okay. See, there are 4 levels of sinful reactions. We can see that here. Okay, prarabdha karma. Do you know what prarabdha karma means? You can just unmute and give some answer. It's okay.
Attached to the activity.
Prarabdha karma is something, these are all 4 levels of sinful activities. Prarabdha karma is something like, that reaction has actually fructified. If somebody is already suffering for something that they have done before, maybe it was in previous birth, or maybe last month, or maybe 100 births before, we don't know. So if something, say somebody is really sick, or they're in a very, very poverty stricken place, where they don't have anything, or very poor, or whatever the situation is, that means they are already experiencing something. That is prarabdha karma, because the sinful reaction has actually fructified. They are actually experiencing the karma for that is a reaction for something that they have already done. It is manifested. That is prarabdha. Aprarabdha means not yet manifest. Falonmukha means it is waiting to take effect. It's almost, anytime, we don't know. When everything is going on fine, suddenly something happens. We wonder what just happened. Everything was fine. How did this happen? That was waiting to take place, actually. Falonmukha. Kuta means reactions that are there, which may fructify later. It may take some time, maybe few years later, few days later, or maybe few birth, next life, anytime, we don't know. Bija is, since in the seed form. That may also take some time. So these are the different stages of sinful reactions. But Krishna consciousness clears our account, from all 4 of them. If we have to go back to Godhead, we want to go and take shelter of the Lord's feet and actually be with Him, we have to go back with nothing. Actually, there is no punya, there is no papa, nothing. The account has to be 0. So a devotional service means it is completely transcendental. So it is not on the level of karma, or how much punya I'm accumulating, is nothing like that. It is Sukriti, like how we discussed in the previous chapters. So when we are going back to Godhead, actually that means we have actually erased all our account is gone, and devotional service is so purifying. So actually it means we are actually ready to go back to Godhead. So it is like this. If you fry the seeds, they don't sprout. So it's like that. When we take up to devotional service, start chanting, all the sins we have already committed, they are actually being washed out. So because the seeds are being, like, that's an analogy. They don't sprout at all. So the sins do not manifest because everything is being cleared. But that's how devotees know, when something happens, they don't blame God. They don't blame anyone. They just know this is something that, I'm facing because I must have done something wrong, somewhere. This is something happening. It's all, the Lord is actually taking care of this. He's given me an opportunity. They look at it as an opportunity to purify themselves and just go back to Godhead. And it is so potent, devotional service. It is like just eating prasad can purify us. We know this from Narad Muni's case. Have you heard about Narad Muni, who he was in his previous life? Do you know Narad Muni's pastime?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, he ate some food left,
He was a
remnant.
maidservant's son,
Yes,
and during the Chaturmas, the Vaishnavas were staying with them, and he, with their permission, he ate the remnants of the Vaishnava and got that purification from that.
yes, Mataji. And that was enough for him, after he left his mother at the age of 5, he was actually, he started chanting that mantra that he had learned from them. And then he became a pure devotee. He actually attained a spiritual body all this happened just by eating the remnants of food left on the dishes. This is in Bhagavatam also. It's given in great detail how Narad Muni became Narad Muni. He could actually see the Lord. So that's the benefit of a devotional service. One second. Pavitram. implies all the 4 stages can be purified. How can I get rid of my karma? How can I get rid of this and that? This is the only path, Uttamam implies beyond tamas, material activities. Spiritual activities are on a absolute platform. Further glorification of the most confidential knowledge. Pratyaksha direct perception of self by realization. How to get direct perception of self? By practicing devotional service in the association of advanced devotees. Example of direct perception by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra without offense. One feels transcendental pleasure and gets purified quickly. Also, if one further helps in the mission, one makes spiritual progress. Qualification. Advancement is irrespective of previous education or qualification. Whatever we did so far in our life does not matter. As soon as you take the shelter of the Guru actually, starts guiding us and he can actually help us. What happened last month, yesterday does not. The moment we take shelter, the moment we start chanting and performing the devotional service and following all the rules set by the Guru, we are already on the right track. Here and there, occasional fall down will happen. It is like we are going on, we have an address with us. We are actually going, towards that address. Say on our journey, we take a wrong turn. We just come back, right? We don't continue going on the wrong direction. What we do, we know I'm going in the wrong place. So this will not help me. So get back to the road that will take us towards the destination. Just like that, occasional mistakes will happen, but ultimately our faith and our determination will become stronger and stronger in the association of devotees, so that we actually stay on the right track and make progress. Further glorification of the most confidential knowledge, dharmyam, perfection of religion. So sukham, blissful. You can see the faces of the devotees. They're so happy, right? Haridas Thakur, you see all the Goswamis. They gave up everything and they were living in Vrindavan, very simple life, and they're so purified. We cannot copy them. We can just follow their instructions and make benefit from their teachings. Avyayam, eternally everlasting. So whatever we do in our devotional service, this will stay on. Next birth also we get the benefit of this. If we again attain a human body, whatever little service we have provided to the Lord, that will actually help us to make further progress. It is not a waste. Our material qualification is not like that. We may get 10 degrees and a PhD and that and this and everything, but in our next life, we have to start from zero. But devotional service is not like that. Lord has our account, He knows we take one step, He will take 100 steps towards us. He will make sure, He says, Ma Shuchaha, don't have any doubt. He keeps on saying, don't have doubts. Without doubt, I'm there. I will purify your heart. Sitting in your heart, I will give you the knowledge which is required for you to come to me. He says all this in so many different verses. So who is going to recite this verse? Hare Krishna. Ashraddhana.
अश्रद्धाधानः पुरुष धर्मस्यस्य परान्तप अप्राप्य मां निवर्तन्ते मृत्यु samsara. Those who are not faithful on the path of devotional service cannot attain me. O conqueror of foes, but return to birth and death in this material world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So Krishna is glorifying the knowledge about him. He has to tell us, right? He is the one, he knows. So that's why he's giving us all the information. So Shastras are actually telling us what we should do. We should just follow the Shastra. It says, don't become envious of God. Don't become envious of Krishna. Cultivate knowledge of Krishna. And this is the most secretive knowledge. And what we should not do, we should not lose faith in Krishna. Okay. So we should not become envious of Krishna. We should not lose faith in Krishna. These things we should take care of. Shastras are saying that. And in the 4th chapter also it says, Sanshayatma Vinashyati. A doubting soul will get destroyed. Constantly doubting, oh, is this person is talking about Krishna. Is there a hidden agenda behind this? Is this correct? Are they being straightforward? Are they saying something which I should not do? All these different doubts, these kind of doubts will not take us anywhere. They will not help us at all, because these acharyas are all very great people, Madhacharya, Ramanujacharya, and so many great acharyas are there, all the Goswamis. We cannot, we cannot doubt them at all. There is no point doubting them. Doesn't make sense. So Prabhupada gives, Prabhuji in his classes, he was giving a very nice example to say what is practical faith. See, practical faith is when we really are following what Guru, Sadhu and Shastra say. Guru, Sadhu and Shastra will never mislead us. They'll always show us the right path. It is like you have a problem, you go to the doctor. So the doctor is saying, you can compare the doctor to a guru. And the guru will say, this is the problem with you. You need to do this to rectify your problem. And then you go and go to the sadhu. You want to take a second opinion. Go to the family doctor, another doctor. They say, look, this doctor is telling like this. You may not say that, but you may say, I want to, the same problem you will again reveal. Then that person also may say give the same solution. Now what you will do, you will go through Shastras. Swadhyaya means you do your own study. For instance, when you have a problem, nowadays everybody is Googling. Is this correct? The doctor told me I have to go through a surgery. What is Google telling? We want to see. And we'll maybe read some books also to find out, should I really go through this surgery, or they are just want money from me? What is this? So this kind of self-study we do. So if Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, if all three, what they are saying tallies, if all these tally, that means there is no point doubting them at all. It is doubting, doubtful nature is like a disease. We'll keep on doubting. That will not help us. Just take shelter of the spiritual master who himself has seen the truth, who knows what he's saying. So in the path of devotional service, if the path of devotional service is actually accepted by Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, so there is no need to Narad Muni. You cannot doubt Narad Muni. You cannot doubt this great others. Just take the shelter. That's what it means. Faith is the most important factor for progress in Krishna consciousness. Define faith. Simply by serving Krishna, one can achieve all perfection. It's like watering the roots of a tree, right? You don't have to water the leaf, don't water the birds, you don't have to water the twigs and all that. Just water the root of a tree and the whole tree is nourished. Like that, but just by performing this devotional service, all the demigods are satisfied, everything, all different areas of our whatever we are going through, this material world, we are facing so many things. Everything will be taken care of, just by following this process. How faith is created? By association of devotees. So association is very, very important, because what we hear, that's what we become. So if you are hearing devotees all the time, what are they discussing? They discuss about Krishna. Bodhayanta Parasparam. That's what devotees do. They get together and discuss Krishna, his glories, and they are helping each other so that, they all can hold each other's hands and go back home. So, no good faith and knowledge of scriptures easily fall down, though engagement in devotional service cannot achieve highest perfection stage. Coming to Krishna consciousness with hidden motives. Lowest. Firm faith, but not very advanced in devotional scriptures, simply trying to follow by association and simplicity. Second level. Firm faith and well versed in devotional scriptures, no chance of fall. Highest level. Development of that faith is the process of Krishna consciousness. So it's a process, like, Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Vajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, step by step. Then once Anartha Nivritti happens, our faith becomes even more stronger. So it's like that. It is a practice. That's why we have to do our sadhana. Faith is the most important factor. Aishwarya Gnana, Krishna's Achintya Bheda, Abheda relationship with the material world. Krishna pervades, creates, and annihilates the entire cosmos through his material energy. Although Krishna is the supreme director, the material world nevertheless moves independently, and Krishna thus remains neutral and detached. Okay, these next few verses are very important. We can understand by going through this, we understand Krishna is inconceivable. We can never understand Krishna completely. Even great devotees, all the demigods and all these greatest of the greatest devotees also, they also don't know Krishna completely. So we will go through the next 3 verses and then discuss. Hare Krishna, who is going to recite this verse? Hare Krishna.
Maya tat
Yes, go ahead.
Maya tatamitham sarvam jagad vyaktamurtina
Avyaktam. Avyaktam.
jagat avyaktamurtina matsani sarvabhutani chak chah na chaham teshya vastitah. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are
Pervaded.
pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. He's saying, I am everywhere. Everything is in me. In the universal form, you could see, right? Everything was inside him. Like even Mother Yashoda, when she saw in Krishna's mouth, she saw the whole universe. She was also bewildered for some time. So it is like that. He's saying, I'm everywhere, everything is in me, but still I'm aloof. He is in Goloka Vrindavan also. And he says his energies are pervading everywhere. He's in the Paramatma. He's sitting in our hearts, but he's standing in front of this Vrindavan Vasis as one person, with a stick in his hand, taking care of the cows. That is his greatness. So he creates this entire universe. He pervades the entire universe. It's just like there is one king and his energy is present everywhere. He is not personally, he may not be, it's like he has different departments. Everything is going on its own accord. There's another example. It is like this. When you switch on the washing machine, it just washes the clothes on its own, right? The water comes and something happens and then water is squeezed and it's rinsing happens, everything happens. Just like that, everything in this cosmos is happening, because of Krishna's directions. He's not personally doing anything, but is there. His energies are working so beautifully because of him. It is like that. We cannot understand Lord Krishna's name, fame, pastimes, everything by our material senses. We cannot even see our own face if we don't have a mirror, right? How can we understand? We can't see the soul. So how can we see the super soul? We cannot understand him so easily. We cannot. It is not easy, but we can just by hearing all this, we know his greatness. So, and then all these neophytes, they glorify the Lord and they say, wow, he's so great. Because in this universal form, we see the eyes and sun, eyes are like sun and moon, and all the trees or the hair on his body, and the mountains are like bones. They're all compared like that, The bones in the Lord's body are like the mountains. So all these different things represent his different body parts. That is for the neophytes actually. A pure devotee, he just focuses on the Shyamasundar form of the Lord. He knows Krishna is a person, he's a supreme being. All these are his activities. So let's read this one. Somebody read this translation, please. Hare Krishna.
And yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence, maintainer of all living entities. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, still myself is the very source of creation. As the almighty wind, blowing everywhere, always rests in ethereal space, know that in the same manner all beings rest in me. Hare Krishna. Sorry there.
Hare Krishna Mataji. This is Yoga Aishwaryam, Yogam Aishwaryam, the Lord's mystic power. He says he's the taste in water, he gives, there is a list we'll read sometime. So now Krishna, like we said, like it's given here, wind, when it blows at high speed, it is still resting somewhere. It's not going everywhere. Like everything is resting in the space. It's not going out of space, right? Something like that. The whole thing rests in him. And we are all under his control. We cannot escape at all. Like this analogy might help to understand. Like we are all under the control of the government. We cannot say I am independent of the government of India or government or the whatever society we live in. We are not independent, right? We are all under the control of the government's rules and regulations. Like that, we are not actually independent of Krishna. Everything is working because of him. Everything is under his shelter. And this is all is inconceivable potency. We cannot understand him. That is why he is God. If you could understand him so easily, what else? So he says he's different from this material manifestation, yet everything is resting in him, on him as pearls are strung on a thread. So he's simultaneously there in his creation and simultaneously present in his own abode, Goloka Vrindavana. So simultaneously one and different with his energies. Achintya Veda, Abheda Tattva. So that's how it is. And again, we can take an example of a big industrialist who has multiple companies. He may be sitting in one place, but all the work is happening automatically. He's not personally doing everything, but the work goes on, and it is all because of he's controlling it. All the rules are set, everything is happening. Different people are taking care of everything. So it's like that. That's just a rough example to understand. The Lord is in one place. Lord is the source of everything. He's the cause of everything. And then there are multiple universes, millions and millions of universes coming from the pores of Mahavishnu. So many universes coming in the seed form. So our material senses can see something like, we can see this planet, that planet, but beyond this universe of ours, there is much more. We get all this information from Bhagavata. How many thousands of millions of universes are there? Even Brahma, there are so many Brahmas. Our Brahma is Chaturmukhi Brahma. There are Brahmas who have 100 heads. There is a Brahma with million heads also. So you can imagine how that universe must be. So the most confidential knowledge. Living entities do not rest upon Krishna. Living entities do not rest upon Krishna. Yogeshwara, inconceivable mystic opulences of the Lord. Everything that is created does not rest in me. Implies although everything rests in him, still he is aloof and not directly concerned with maintenance. He is not even concerned with the success or failure of his activities. He is totally detached from it. Not like Atlas, who is tired of holding the globe. He is aloof, examples of inconceivable opulences. Avyayam, eternally, everlasting. Okay, he's complete, Purna, right? Ishopanishad says, complete. If something is coming out of him, he still remains complete. It doesn't mean, something is lost. It's not like that. So the Krishna is not directly concerned with the maintenance and sustenance of this material manifestation. He does not touch this material manifestation. Simply by his will, his glance is enough. Everything is created, everything becomes sustained, everything is being maintained, and it will be annihilated also. Just his glance is enough for the creation to take place. So everybody is and everything is dependent on Krishna only and his supreme will. Someone please read the translation, Krishna.
Shall I, Mataji?
Sure, Mataji. Please go ahead.
9.7. O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, all material manifestations enter into my nature, and at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again. 9.8. The whole cosmic order is under me. By my will, it is manifested again and again, and by my will, it is annihilated at the end. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. At the end of the millennium means at the death of Brahma. When Brahma gives up his body, when he dies, everything is annihilated. So this way, all the energies again wound up in himself. Then again, when there is need to manifest this cosmic world, again it is done by his will. So that's how it is. And Brahma's life, one day is 4.32 billion years. It's a very long day. So he's like that. The duration of the day and the duration of night, they're equal. So like that, he lives for 100 years. So it's a very, very long time. So that's how it happens. The cosmic manifestation, annihilation takes place like this. So Krishna is saying, all this information is there in Bhagavad Gita. So, O Dhananjaya, all this work cannot bind me. I am ever detached, seated as though neutral. So whatever activities are taking place, he is detached from them. Okay. Lord Krishna's relationship with creation, destruction. Discussion on Lord Krishna's relationships with creation and destruction. Material world, inferior energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How Krishna's creation refutes the modern concept of evolution. Modern concept. There is gradual evolution of species from one to another, beginning from creation. But from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, we come to know there are 84 lakh species. All species of life are created immediately along with the universe at the beginning of creation and not one after another. It depends on our desires and our karmic accounts and everything. Based on that, based on our desires and past deeds, we get bodies accordingly. How the material world is maintained? If Krishna as Parameshvara is aloof, Krishna's supreme will is always present. No direct involvement of the Lord. He himself does not create or destroy. What is the basis of creation? Okay, everything is definitely under supreme will of the Lord because he enters as three Vishnu's forms into the Mahatattva to create. Material nature occurs by Lord's desire, which implies Krishna has no direct involvement but acts through material nature. Creation takes place in, one second, is to accommodate. Can someone read that? I'm not able to read that last box.
Creation takes place to accommodate uh, to accommodate inclinations
To the
of the desires of the
various living entities. Thank you, Mataji. So Krishna himself is saying he is responsible for the creation and he is a person. He is the supreme intelligence, He's supremely intelligent, He is a person. And it is, we cannot say Lord is God is energy, everything just happened on its own. So some energy is behind this creation. So behind this energy, there is an energetic person. So Krishna just oversees everything. He permits. That's all. If we think he is, God is just energy in that energy, we are just fools actually. That's what it means. So another property of Krishna we came to know is he's detached. He's not attached to profit or loss. Whatever is happening is happening. He's not, is this activity going to be successful or is it going to be a loss? He's not worried about all that. So he's not attached. Please recite this one. We'll do a few more verses and we'll continue next weekend. Hare Krishna. We'll recite this one.
मया ध्यक्षेन प्रकृति सुयते सचराचरं हेतुनानेन कौन्तेय जगत् विपरिवर्तते. This material universe is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and it is producing all moving and unmoving beings. By its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So Krishna is the father. Okay. We see sun appears on time, moon appears on time. The move, sun is already there, It is because of the rotation of the earth, day and night, all happen. But everything is happening so nicely. Seasons change. They, everything happens on time. So automatic, right? It's as if somebody has programmed everything. So the rules are set. Everything is being followed. So he's like the supreme engineer behind all these things that are happening. So without his superintendence, without his, um, you know, governance, material nature cannot do anything. He simply glances over material nature, and what happens? Material nature becomes activated. Everything is created immediately. All the scientists, they say, "Wow, this is so great. That is so great." They like what is so great about this creation and everything. They say, "Oh, magnanimous things are happening," but they cannot understand why it is happening. And there's no discussion about this supreme intelligent person behind all this. That science cannot prove, and it's not. That's not. Some people even deny his presence. They say there is no God only. It is just happening on its own. Something happened, some reaction happened, something happened. That's all. So that's how it is. But this is all happening through the scriptures. We come to know that actually this is all done by the Lord Himself. So let's move on. Okay, non-worshippers and worshippers. Fools who think Krishna is an ordinary human being possessing a temporary form become atheists and are defeated in their endeavors. Definition and qualifications of a Mahatma. Okay. Hare Krishna. This is another important verse. Who would like to recite this one? Hare Krishna. Please recite. Santoshi.
प्रजानन्ति मां मूढाः मानुषीं तनुमाश्रितं परं भावमजानन्तः मम भूतं भूतमहेश्वरम्. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature and my supreme domination over all that be. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So when Krishna appeared here, in Vrindavana, what happened? Many thought he's just a ordinary person. And they thought he's just powerful, that's all. He's a person, but he's a little bit more powerful than all of us. But, Bhagavad Gita and Brahma Samhita, they all confirm this, that he is the Supreme Lord. Because just like how in the material world, one person is controlling another, there is always someone we have to report to, right? Just like that, we have this Supreme Lord who is in charge of everything. Satchidananda Vigraha. His body is eternal. He is completely, blissful and is full of knowledge. Material body cannot perform the activities that the Lord performed. We cannot even imagine lifting Govardhana hill or killing all these demons, killing Kamsa, for instance. And we can see just by reading Krishna book, the 10th canto. Krishna book is actually 10th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam. We can see all these great pastimes of the Lord. No human being can perform all such activities. And nobody can be simultaneously infinite and simultaneously minute also. So all these are his confidential activities. And he says these different energies are controlling everything. So, but there are many people, they say there are like in the purport also, it is given. There are people who say, oh, impersonalists, who say God is everywhere. We don't need to go to the temple at all. God is there in here also, there also, within also. But then there are others, personalists and all. They will say, if God is everywhere, He is in the deity also. He's definitely in the temple also. He's the deity also. But personalists and impersonalists, they may go on fighting. But a devotee of the Lord understands everything is Krishna. Everything, whatever they see throughout this material creation, everything is because of Him. He is there everywhere. He is in the heart of the atheist also, is in the heart of a sinful person also, is the heart of a devotee also, is heart of in the heart of every living entity, and everything, all the energies that we see, everything is pervading everything. So devotee looks at everything in relation to Krishna. That's the difference. Outside also, inside the temple also, he can see everybody in relation to Krishna. So that's very difficult to understand Krishna's potency. That's why he is inconceivable. Understanding these three terms: Jananti, Ajananti, and Avajananti. Jananti, understanding, knowing about Lord Krishna in truth leads to liberation. If we know, he says, the one who knows about my transcendental activities, he actually, can attain a spiritual body after he gives up this body. He doesn't have to come back and suffer. Krishna himself says that. Ajananti, ignorance of Lord Krishna, such a person will continue the cycle of birth and death. And then Avajananti, misunderstanding about Krishna will lead to increased bondage, greater sufferings. See. Okay, we'll do two more slides and then we can stop. Please read this one. It's a very interesting verse. Hare Krishna. Who would like to recite? Mokesha Moga Karmano.
मोघासामोघकर्माणो मोघज्ञानविचेतसः राक्षसीम् आसुरीं चैव प्रकृतिं मोहिनीं श्रिताः. Those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demonic and atheistic views. In that deluded condition, their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activities, and their culture of knowledge are all defeated.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
If you're able to read that, please read. Otherwise, I will try. Okay. Because some words they seem to be cut, right? Okay, go ahead.
Yes, Mataji, you can.
Shall I read? Okay, I'll read. So it says, one who considers the body of Krishna to be material should be driven out from all rituals and activities of the Shruti and Smriti. And if one by chance sees his face, one should at once, there are people who think, oh, Krishna is not God, he's just a human being. If you see anyone who is not, who is in that state of mind, because persons who mock Krishna are said to be demonic or atheistic. If what happens, if you see such a person's face, it says, such a person, we should immediately go take bath in the Ganges to get rid of that infection. Imagine how many such people we are seeing every day. So it's just to say that, you can understand. One who considers the body of Krishna to be material should be driven out from all rituals and activities. No point performing all the rituals and activities if you don't know who Krishna is, if you consider him as another human being. So people jeer at Krishna because they are envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why not me? Oh, how come he is enjoying? Why not me? And why not? I can't. I want to be the boss. Why Krishna? That is envy. Their destiny is certainly to take birth after birth in the species of atheistic and demonic life. Perpetually, their real knowledge will remain under delusion, and gradually they will regress to the darkest region of creation. So atheistic people and demoniac people are always baffled. This demoniac, they want to be godly. Hiranyakashipu, he wanted to become the most powerful. That's why he was, he went and performed this austerity. And he wanted to become immortal, but Brahma said, how can you give that boon when I only have a short life, Like I also have he has to give up his body too. They said, I cannot give you such a boon. So like that, there are many demons that they want to become God themselves. They think they're God. And there are people who think after giving up the body, they become God. That also is there. Atheistic people, they don't even believe in God. So it's an offense to consider Krishna to be ordinary and to not, accept his supremacy. They're just servants of the Lord. That's all. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay. We almost finished half the chapter. Next we can do next week. Fate of Duratma. What will happen? There is a Duratma here. See, Prahlad was a pure devotee. The Lord was there to protect him. Fate of those who, out of bewilderment, disrespect Krishna's form. They are attracted by demoniac and atheistic views. Hopes for liberation, fruitive activities, and culture of knowledge are all defeated. Okay. Okay, this verse and we can stop today's session. Okay, who's going to recite this one? This is a very important verse too. It tells us about
9.13, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, one second. Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritah bhajantya anyayo manaso gyatva bhutadim avyayam. I have logged in through my mobile. I can't see the translation. 1 minute.
Okay, Mataji. Does anyone else want to read translation?
Yes. Yeah.
Sure, Mataji. Okay, go ahead.
Sure. O son of Pratha, those who are not devotees are under protection of divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotion of Godhead, original and inexhaustible.
Mataji, there was some disturbance in your audio. Does anyone else want to try again? Seema Mataji, you are unmuted. You want to try? Hare Krishna, please read, Mataji.
I was
Oh,
unmuted earlier only.
Okay. Good, Mataji. O son of Pratha, would you like to read?
O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. So we are all conditioned souls. We are called marginal potency, as we've already discussed before. As soon as a living entity, who is in marginal potency, is free from the material, control of material nature, what happens? He is put under the guidance of the spiritual nature, Daivi Prakriti. The guidance of the spiritual nature is called Daivi Prakriti, and he will not be under the control of Maya. See here it says, one who surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what happens? He attains the stage of a great soul. Mahatma means great soul. It is not like we can rubber stamp anyone and say, oh, this person is Mahatma. That's not how it is. If you go through Bhagavad Gita, we'll understand who is Mahatma. The description of Mahatma is given here very clearly. Mahatma, a great soul, is a pure devotee of the Lord. What does he do? He is situated in the divine nature and he is attracted to the Lord in his 200 form, Shyamasundar form. And a Mahatma always meditates upon Krishna, in Krishna consciousness. They are always engaged in the Lord's service. Such a person is called Mahatma. You see all these acharyas of the Madhacharya, Ramanacharya, their spirituality is independent of all the garbage that's happening in the world. So much happening, so much politics, so much war and everything. But you see, they come here, they have a mission, they come, perform that, they just go back, right? You see all these great beings, they are all like that. They don't get involved in all this politics. They have a mission. They come here. They want to spread Krishna consciousness. They spread the Krishna consciousness movement. They try to purify us. They give us that knowledge and information and try to, tell us how to do it also. They give us a process also. So it is like that. They are Mahatmas. Such people are Mahatmas who are trying to help us raise our consciousness. Such a person is a Mahatma. Always thinking about Krishna. This is Madhavendra Puri, the great devotee of the Lord. Okay. I think we will do from here next weekend. We'll stop. Okay. I'll stop. Then I will